And we're live, and it's Sunday night. Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday night show about absolutely nothing. So, what's going on? We've got a bunch of our regulars in the house ready. Yeah? Scoop, Danny Boyd, what's happening? Nathan McCree, Greasy Garage, man, what's happening? Wayne Buzzle, Bruce Colton, what's the subject tonight? Nothing, bro, nothing. We're not going to talk about anything. We're just going to babble incessantly and whatever topic happens to come up. Because that's what we do. This is the Sunday night show about absolutely nothing. Um, let's see. Mexican Spec is in the house. What's happening, brother man? Joker, yeah, the angry stick figure. I don't know. Is that what Kathy Bananas put up for the? I haven't seen the thumbnail, but yeah, sometimes she's my self portrait. I drew that. Um, GK Man, yes. Joker. Uh, KJ Kylie, what's happening, brother man? Kerosene Cucumbers. Dean Stevenson, the one and only elusive and lovely Dean Stevenson. Uh, Lumpy, what's happening, Lumpy? Um, let's see. Glenn McClendon, it's like waiting on the missus to get ready. You know why? Because I'm in touch with my female side, and so that's right, exactly. Um, what's the frequency? Dean Stevenson, what's the frequency? Kenneth, who was it? That was like a news anchor, right? That like flipped out one night, and he was just like kept repeating, "What's the frequency, Kenneth?" That was like 40 years ago. It was like a live TV, a live news broadcast. Somebody probably remembers that better than I do. Um, Boomer. Let's see who else is in here. Bill McKeiska, what's happening? Craig Chido. We got all the regulars. Ford LTD. Fubar the Axe is in the house. Rocky Meyer wants to know what's a good 60 foot and eighth mile time for a border collie. Okay, so it's a 300 foot. It's a 100 yard run. So there is no eighth mile time, and there's no mile an hour clock. They go by what they do is they do a conversion off the ET. So it's a flying start. Okay, the dog runs past the first set of photo cells, and the timer stops when it gets past the second set of photo cells, and then they calculate the mile an hour from that. So I don't get a 60 foot time, but I'll tell you what, 60 is just as important in fast cat for dogs as it is in drag racing, even though you don't get a 60 foot number. Because my Winnie, she's my older, bigger border collie. She's like almost 3 years old, and she ran out of the blue. So she always runs 27 miles an hour, mid 27s, and then out of the blue, the other day she sped out a 29 mile an hour run. Okay, which was like just way faster than she had ever gone before. But the way she launched, so I got down on my knees and I picked her up because she was laying there in that border collie like stalk position, and I picked her up and I pulled her close to me, and she scrunched up as if she was going to take a poop. You know the way dogs scrunch up when they're going to poop, right? Okay, so that's the position that she put herself in, and I was holding her back. And when they said tally ho, because that's when you let go of the dog, and I say tally ho, that means that the war is going to start moving. I let go of her, and she kicked off of me, right? Like, I mean, like brutal, wham, okay? And even though she didn't actually run any faster than she normally does, it turned out to be a 29 mile an hour run because of that launch. So, yeah, we tried to duplicate it. Went back yesterday, tried to duplicate it. It wasn't going to happen. Um, yes, I love dogs, man. 29 miles an hour, bro. Shoot for sure, 29.05 or something like that. But it was a fluke. It was a fluke. Because normally, and that's strong. 27 and a half miles an hour is strong for a border collie. So that was a fluke number out of her. The other one, Molly Jane, she's gone 28.85. And that's pretty consistent for her. She'll run 28.70, 28.60, like that. So she ran 28.85. So she's really close to 29 miles an hour. And that's without any crazy launch. That's just her normal thing. Dude, you guys had zeros in the house. You know, yeah, I think I just responded to zero. That's okay. You can never say hi to zero too many times. Um, yeah, zero has landed. So you guys that aren't racing your border collies are missing out on. It's great. It's absolutely great. Um, okay, let me scroll back up through here. I know I said hi to Mexican spec. Of course I did. World of Wood Chip. What's happening? Matthew Ward. Um, Seinfeld Live about nothing. The Seinfeld. Yes, yeah, that was a show about nothing. This is a live about nothing. Canuck Car Guy. UTG, I love your program. Well, thank you, sir. I need a little advice. If I'm going to hook up a vacuum gauge to a Holley 750, 3310, which vacuum port gives the best accurate readings? Thanks in advance. Well, it depends what you're looking to measure. If you're looking to measure the actual engine vacuum, manifold vacuum, then anything that's below the throttle blades. So you're going to have a couple of ports on that carburetor. Like there's the one that the vacuum vents plugs into on the side. You're only going to get vacuum for that when you open the throttle. That's ported vacuum. So if you're looking to just for manifold vacuum, engine vacuum, you want to pick up a vacuum source below the throttle blades. So with that, just keep on pulling off vacuum caps and vacuum lines until you get suction at idle, and that's what you plug into. Did that answer it? I hope. Hank Hill, on the stamp pad of a 440, does the letter before the cubic inch designation mean the year? Yes, it does. For example, what does C440 indicate? The hell if I know. But C is the year, so I don't know whatever that corresponds to. I was never a numbers guy like that. I know what it means, but I never memorized the numbers because I don't care. You know what I mean? I'm not like a restoration kind of guy, so I never really bothered with stuff like that. The bitch got his fast cat. You got that right, bro. It's addictive. We're probably gonna go hit another one next weekend. And that's the thing, right? So they run their fastest time off the trailer. Okay. They'll always be so if you're gonna make 2 runs or 3 runs, it's always the first run that's the fastest with the dogs. So that's what we did yesterday. We just brought them out there off the trailer, boom, boom, 2 solid runs, and we split. So now we're going to try it again, I think, next weekend. Let's see. Joe Mercucci, ABC is the year. Yeah, the letters of the year, and I think it started at 68. That would be an A. No, for the 440, it started at 66. 66 in the C bodies. And then 67, they stuck them in B bodies. But 66 would be the first year. So going by that, 66A, 67B, 68C, would that be right? 72C28. Have you seen the silly articles about Stellantis writing tickets to competitor cars in the employee parking lots? I have not, but I mean, well, what do you expect? Commie reptilian friggin' things that run Stellantis. What would you expect? Uncle Duck. What's happening, Uncle Duck? Howdy, motorheads. Joker, is there any particular prep you give the dogs before they run? Certain foods, exercise, anything like that? No. So there's conflict as to what should be done ahead of time, and I want to feed them a couple of like glazed donuts, because glazed donuts is my racing food. If I'm going to go race, the only thing I'll consume is glazed donuts. This goes back to the 80s. If I know I'm going to go race something, glazed donuts. That's the only thing I'll eat for the day until I'm finished. So I think I'd like to slip Molly a glazed donut an hour or so before the run, but there's conflict, between me and Uncle Kathy as to how these things should be treated. But let's see. Dean Stevens says it works great for the horses. Let's see. 72s each one. You're saying they're only bad employee tickets, no fines. But the lots have always had parking areas for non-company vehicles. Ford and GM do it too. I wasn't aware of any of that. Cop Car Steve. Hey, Reverend Tony. Hey, Cop Car Steve. Have you ever applied for collector plates and forgot to send a picture of the motor to the motor vehicle manager or DMV? I have collector plates on like half my cars, and they never. In Tennessee, they don't ask for that. They don't care. They don't care. So I don't know what state you're in, but I don't know. Just pull a picture of the engine off the internet and send it to them. Maybe some nitrous for the dogs. I want them to run in a straight line, bro. Uncle Ducky found a puddle of antifreeze under the 2018 shaker. Sheets, here comes another 1,000. Oh, yeah, man. Those things aren't fun to work on. They're just not fun to work on. Thunder Falcon, you like the video about saving gas? I've been driving it, and yeah, like okay, so the gas gauge isn't inaccurate with it, but it's definitely, it feels lighter, if that makes any sense. It cruises, highway cruises, just I could tell it was fat, and now it's just right. It's just right. Maybe I got to go like another 1,000 or maybe even 2,000 on the metering rod, but I'm content where it is. It really did make a difference. So you like the lawnmower carb Maverick? I mean, well, why wouldn't it work? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's a gimmick, but why wouldn't it work? And the car power supercharger Galaxy by Luke 289. I traded a Falcon for 74 Courier. Excuse me. Sweet fat guy. I haven't done collector plates. They want to limit how far you drive with them, and I like to drive my junk daily. I drive my shit everywhere all the time. Nobody ever bothers it. But again, every state is a little bit different. And even within the state, every jurisdiction is a little bit different. So here in Nashville, Middle Tennessee, right? How they don't bother you at all. I've been driving with collector plates here for 20 something years. I've been pulled over once because of that. And it was some female not state cop, sheriff's department over by Franklin, whatever county it is, Williamson County. I've been pulled over once, and she gave me a warning ticket. Don't drive the car with collector plates on it. So, but yeah, I mean, they don't bother with that around here. Other places, they pull you out of the car, and actually, they actually pull your toenails out on the side of the road. I've heard about this. So, Danny Boyd says you missed the first 11 minutes, and that's where all the fun was. It's all downhill from here, bro. I mean, like, there's nothing left. There's just nothing. 7228. Starting price on Ram 1500 is in the mid 40s for a tradesman. I know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Please. Sean Fagan. Wait, there it is. Sean Fagan. I need help on cavitation issues with my 93 V873. What do you know about this crap? Be more specific, man. Be more specific with the problem you have. And I'll try to help you. And if I can't help you, somebody else here will. Shannon said, UTG, ever have any experience using Summit brand carbs? Yes. I've had mixed results with them so far. Could just be me. Some good, some not so much. Okay. I thought that they were just a goof, okay? Until I actually ended up with one on a car that I bought. And I was amazed. I was amazed. It was such a sweet carburetor. Now, you got to understand the roots of that carburetor. That was originally an Autolite carburetor, right, for Ford, right? Then Holly bought it. Autolite stopped building it. Holly bought it. And Holly made some revisions to it. They changed the accelerator pump. They changed they changed a few things. I don't remember off the top of my head, but they made some changes to it. And then Holly stopped producing it, and then Summit started producing it wherever Summit produces it, or from East Bargo Squeegee, whatever it is. But it's true to the Holly design of it, and it is a sweet freaking carburetor. I had a 750. So originally I was like, I wouldn't have given you 2 cents for one, but after I lived with one for about 6 months or so, awesome carburetors. They're the best bang for the buck. I don't really talk about them very much because they're kind of obscure. Not many people buy them. The Edelbrock is like number one as far as kind of like people who just drive, normal like muscle car, hot rod, that sort of thing, driver type of cars. The Edelbrock seems to be the most prevalent, and then the Holly a close second. And there really isn't much interest. We did a couple of those Summit carburetor videos about 5 years ago, and there really wasn't much interest in it. But maybe I should go back and try to do something with them. But I do highly recommend. Bang for the buck, I think they're the best in going. Let's see. I'm going to find a cavitation problem again. Who asked me about the cavitation? Sean Fagan. Let me see if Sean wrote back. And while I'm looking for that, Fubar just put up the link to my merch. Thank you, Fubar. So if you want to support this nonsense that we do on a regular basis, represent at a local car show. What I found is that if you wear our merch to like places, they don't throw stuff at you anymore. It used to be like if you bought some UTG, like shirts or hats or anything like that, like represent, they would like throw ice cream cones at you and Slurpees. You know what I mean? You're wearing a UTG shirt, you can almost guarantee if you walk into a 7-Eleven, somebody's gonna fling a Slurpee at you. It was the normal thing back in the day. Birds would poop on you. You're wearing UTG merch, especially because it's black. Boom, bird poop. Okay, but I noticed that over the last couple of years that doesn't happen very much. So you can usually buy our merch and wear it relatively carefree. You know what I mean? You're probably not going to be attacked or assaulted in any way. So I think that's an important thing when you talk about any sort of apparel. Don't wear it to SEMA or PRI. Right? Don't ever wear my merch to SEMA or PRI. But out in the general public, you'd be okay. Let's see. I'm trying to find Sean Fagan's thing. Okay, he hasn't written back yet. So let me go back to a long question from Patrick. Patrick Hack. I tried manifold vacuum advance and have found it helped idle quality a lot. Now we're running the 440 with 18 degrees initial, 36 total, okay, and my 230-degree half-inch lift cam, no more stinky idle. Okay, so here's the thing. I know it will idle better on the manifold vacuum. I know this, okay, but the Chrysler distributor is designed for ported vacuum. It's that simple. Now, you're probably going to find if you hook up the manifold to port it, no, it's actually not going to make much of a difference. If you're not getting any stumble, like steady cruise stumble at like 60, 70 miles an hour, then it's not going to make any difference for your total. So your total timing plus the vacuum advance. But the distributor, that canister is designed to work, that whole system is designed to work at ported. You can leave it at manifold if you want, but it's designed to be run ported. Where GM vacuum advance, most GM vacuum advance is designed to be run manifold. I just automatically, on a Chrysler, hook up with ported. Um, let's see. Med 101, you appreciate my videos. Bro, you have no idea how much I appreciate you clicking on them. I bet you I appreciate you clicking on my videos more than you appreciate my videos. Let's see. Okay, I'm looking. Cop Car Steve, I've been reviewing your carburetor videos on Holly 4 barrels. It's helping. I'm slowly getting this thing dialed in. However, I'm a bit stinky with rich exhaust. Oh, um, all I can tell you is go back and rewatch the videos. If you can't get a clean idle out of it, if you can't get a clean idle out of it, it's probably a warped body. And I've covered that. I've talked about that. I've showed how to fix it. That's the common thing, but it could be anything really. So go back and watch all the Holly carburetor videos again. Tony, will vacuum leak in China wall cause idle problems? Oh, I see what you did there. I see what you did there. Yeah, it probably would. Fuck if you know. I love you, Uncle Tony. I'm fond of you. I'm fond of you. Material dialectics. Oh, hey, perfect thing to watch while I'm working, replacing the springs in my Caprice wagon. Yes, we really designed this entire program around being the background for that exact job. So yes, go for it, brother man. One for the road. Hey, Tony, everyone moved to third shift and haven't gotten on a live in forever. Missed the crew. Well, welcome back. Welcome back. UB's Garage, I'm doing very well. I hope that you are also doing well. What is that? A Hillborn injected small block Chevy. Tell me about that, UB. What do you got going on there? Let's see. Accelerated. What are your thoughts on a 185-degree thermostat in a car that calls for 195? Don't concern yourself too much with the number that's on the thermostat. Okay, what you're really looking for is the overall effect. So when you're talking about a 185 opens at 185, 195 opens at 195, but what's the operating temperature of the engine? Because that can vary from situation to situation. So I wouldn't really worry about what the number on the thermostat is. Worry more or concern yourself more with what the operating temperature of the engine is. So, I mean, that's the best I can tell you. You know, the thermostat number is more of a suggestion than a commandment. You know what I'm saying? Use the thermostat that gets you the operating temperature that you desire. PG-13, the Bill Hound Show. Tony, what do you think Dodge would do to take the throne back from Chevy? You mean like the vet? This guy runs like an 870. It's so ridiculous. It runs like an 870. Oh hell, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't really care what they're going to do. They should be out of business before they have a chance to actually do anything. Olive is in the house. How you doing, Olive? Cop Car Steve, was it just me or was there no Wednesday chat? There was, but Dr. Art and I decided to keep it private. We just decided to talk to each other for 2 hours, without all of this. Luca Brazil, thank you for the super chat. I don't know what the R is, but thank you for that. I'm changing my comp lifters for Isky quiet lifters before break-in. 4302. Wish me luck. I wish you luck. I think you're probably better off with the Isky lifters, but I don't know. I don't hear too many bad stories about Isky lifters. I've had my own horror stories with comp lifters. So let's see what happens with that. Good luck. Zero is on top of the vet situation. The C8, the flat plane crank, is awesome. I just can't get into it. I just can't get into it. I mean, I respect it, and I understand why other people get enthused about it, but I just can't get into it. Rocco, Tony, did you see Jeep put out essentially a stock XJ as a concept car? I did not. But it's going to be an overcomplicated thing. It's not going to have any of the XJ's bulletproof qualities. It's going to be a soft plastic, something with like a 900cc engine with like 3 turbochargers and 45 pounds of boost and a 17-speed transmission. I seriously doubt it's going to be anything like. Have you seen this new Jeep motor? I want to do a video on this. I'll get to that in 1 second, James. I want to do a video on this. Have you this new Jeep Hurricane 4? Okay, they're using a version of stratified charge. So, which is something that Honda put. I mean, stratified charge has been tried for since the beginning of time, right? Honda had it going with the CVCC engine, the Civic engine. The CVCC was a stratified charge motor that had a pre-combustion chamber. So instead of the spark plug being screwed into the combustion chamber itself, it was screwed into a smaller chamber. There was like a smaller mixture, and then the smaller mixture was like a bigger mixture, and it was successful. It worked. But now Stellantis is using, on this new Hurricane motor, they've got the spark plug hidden inside of this. It looks like a thimble. Like thimble. Like that. The old days, the ladies that would sew. They put that thimble on their thumb, right? Okay, that's what it looks like. And they've got the spark plug in that, and this piston is supposed to force mixture into that on a compression stroke. And then the spark plug lights the mixture inside this little thimble, and then it has little holes all the way around it, and it's supposed to shoot fire out of the holes and then light up the rest of the combustion chamber. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, it seems like a pretty okay thing, but why do I see these things not really holding up in the real world? Has anybody seen this? Okay, James Bullock, I'm sorry. Can you fix a freeze crack on a block the same way whole blocks are repaired? Can you fix a freeze crack on a block the same way whole blocks are repaired? Yes. Now, I have successfully repaired freeze cracks with a flux core welder, welding it cold. But the way holes in blocks are repaired, like the furnace brazing and all of that, yes, absolutely, they can be. Zero saying, boss, at least these motors have all been push rod and single camshaft, thumbing the nose at the world of fast cars forever. The flat plane crank is the best. Fuck off now. All right, I mean, let me give another look. Like I said, bro, I appreciate it. I just not into it. Does that make any sense? Like, there's lots of things I appreciate, but I'm not. It doesn't tickle my imagination. Is Jamie in the house? Dead Dodge Garage? I see you guys saying hi to Jamie. There he is. Happy Sunday, Jamie. So you guys, Jamie, Dan Dodge Garage, the best Mopar channel on all of YouTube. If you're not already subbed to him, go over there and sub to him. And he also does a live that overlaps hours. So we go on at 7 o'clock Central Time. He goes on at 8 o'clock Central Time. We wrap it up at 9 o'clock. He wraps it up at 10 o'clock. So his live overlaps hours. No cash guard. So essentially, the Hurricane is basically the flintlock of motors. It seems Rube Goldberg to me. The Honda version made sense. Okay, the Honda version made sense because you actually had a clearly defined pre-combustion chamber, and there wasn't any restriction between the pre-combustion chamber and the combustion chamber. But this is like taking like a shortcut to that, where instead of using a separate small intake valve, because that's what the Honda did, and a small intake valve that opened into the pre-combustion chamber, instead of doing that, they're having everything go through a normal cycle, but they're hiding the spark plug under this thimble. I just don't see it lasting very long under normal circumstances. So in other words, okay, and this is a direct injection engine. It has both direct and port injection. Sure, just make it as complicated as you possibly can. It has both direct and port injection. So you see the way they can't keep the direct injected engines from carboning up the intake valve and the combustion chamber. How are they going to keep these little tiny holes, clear for let's say 50,000 miles, 75,000 miles? I just don't see it happening. There's a difference between testing, okay, they stick this engine on a dyno with this gizmo on it, and they run it for, let's say, 1,000 hours, okay? And at the end of the 1,000 hours, they tear it apart, and so now they're duplicating how many miles it would be, okay? Whatever that would equate to. I'm pulling a number out of my ass. So they test it at a steady state, or they change the RPM, they put it through a whole drive cycle, okay, and it's nonstop. And now they tear it apart and they look at all of the bits and pieces. Fine, I get that, and that's a good way to test. But it's not really indicative of what actually happens out in the real world when there's all of these different conditions. And every time the engine is shut off, it goes to ice cold. And then it gets fired up again, and it's ice cold and has to warm all the way up. And during these transitional periods, there's all kinds of chemical reactions and condensations and puddling and all sorts of stuff that happens that's normal, that you're going to find in normal daily use, that you're not going to find in dyno testing, endurance testing, right? Does that make any sense? And so that's why, okay, so they ran it for 100,000 miles on a friggin' dyno and it came out perfectly fine. That's great. What's it going to look like after 10,000 or 20,000 miles in the real world? That's what I want to know. And Jamie just put up Zero just put up a link to Jamie's channel, so you guys can go over there and sub to Jamie. He's the guy that's going to take over when I'm done, when I'm over. Jamie is the guy who steps into my shoes. Not that he's already there, really. I'm going to tell you the truth. Purple Ninja, thank you for the super chat. Heard talk of pump gas being up to 15% ethanol due to oil shortage. I don't think it's going to happen. Thoughts on how we should expect it to impact our carb setups and how we adapt. If anything, you're going to have to just jet up a little bit, a tiny bit, right? So if your car's running great with let's say 68s in the, you don't want to jump with a Holly, let's say, and it's running good with 68s in there, you may have to go to 69s. It'll be minimum. It'll be minimum. Be sinister. Okay. Having a small bog issue on a street small block Chevy 350 with a brand new AVS2 carb. After cruising, I'll push the clutch in and stab the throttle, and it chugs. Small bog issue. All right. After cruising, I'll push in the clutch and stab the throttle and it chugs. I don't. Ooh, try to define that a little bit better. I don't really. Um, Jamie is saying, "I'll do my do your best to film." Dude, you're already freaking impressive. Let me tell you, you're impressive. Currently reading up on this hurricane thing you were talking about. Take a look at that, right? Now you've been inside of a zillion friggin' engines. You've been in there 1,000 combustion chambers, right? You tell me what that thing is going to look like just a short period of time down the road. Um, Dave Bowen, hey, we're talking. I just want to let you know that I put your channel on my TV and hit play mix and watch like I don't know 10 or 12 hours of your shows. I'm sorry. Thank you. Obviously, thank you, but man, I wouldn't want to watch 10 or 12 hours of my shows. I think that the only person, in my opinion, the only person worth watching 10 or 12 hours of anything is the LA Beast. I can sit down and binge watch his stuff, but yeah. Uh, Zero saying, boss, only the crucible of motorsports can truly test the engine and its capabilities. If any, race it or just sit down. True, but this device isn't really about racing. This is about longevity. You know, it's the better mousetrap to light a fire in a combustion chamber. Um, I don't know why they didn't just use a stratified charged combustion chamber. It's already been proven. You know what I mean? It's proven. Billions of miles on Honda CVC engines, and they were fine. The only problem was that what would happen was that the small intake valve in the pre-combustion chamber would go bad. There was a deal with that, but not until the thing had like 200,000 miles on it. Jamie is saying, "Oh, it'll be clogged full of carbon immediately." I'm sure. Yes, I know. Dual injection, both port and direct. Yes, because they could not make it. I'm sure Stellantis engineers sit around all night, right? They smoke whatever is, you know. Well, actually, they're probably mainlining. Okay, they're these Stellantis engineers. They sit around like naked by the campfire, like mainlining and stuff like that, and then drawing out these ideas that they have, you know, in the air with their fingers. You know, it's like, look what we can do with this cam, right? See it, you know, and then the other ones see it, you know, and then the next day they all get together and they actually, you know, they write down what they can remember from the night before. That or they're using a Ouija board and they're channeling demons. You know, Zozo says we need this thing over the spark plug. Make a thing for over the spark plug. Yes, yes, we'll do it now. We'll do it now. And then that's what you get. This is what turns up as Stellantis engineering. Unbelievable. 72 minutes, exactly how it works. Drugs and demons. Yes, I know. I've handled their stuff. I know. Designed in failure. Yes. Speaking of design and failures, where's my comp cams here? Uh, what's this about? Yes, I I'll piss off a bunch of people that I know, but man, comp cams is just please. I've had just the craziest head scratching shit from comp cams. Did I miss a super chat? Oh, I did. James Bullock, thank you for the super chat. Would you ever do a C4 with a 318 Crossfire? A C4 Corvette with a 318 Crossfire? James, I'm not sure what you mean by that. C4 Corvettes, I like C4 Corvettes. But I don't know what you mean by a 318 Crossfire. Okay, I'm scrolling back up. Material dialectics. My new obsession is creating a custom designed ECU for the CCC Quadrijet on my car. Most people think I'm crazy, and I probably am, but I'm a stubborn shit. I mean, if you're gonna design an ECU for anything, why not the CCC Quadrijet? I mean, it's as simple and basic. Why not? Why not? But it's really, the thing is that the ECU for that isn't really so much about carburetor control, but feedback for the ignition timing. You know what I'm saying? There's not much control over the actual carburetor itself. The carburetor feeds back information to run the timing program on a distributor. Mid-main muscle. They use direct and port injection because of direct connection PSI. To make big power, it takes a lot of pressure from both the mechanical pump and the injectors. I don't know why they do both. I don't. Okay, whatever the reason is, I don't know. All I know is I will not mess with it. I have no interest in playing around with this contraption that they've come up with. I have no faith in this contraption. You think about it, okay? It's like you've got two completely separate control systems here now. For both, it's like a dual fuel system with dual control because you got to trigger both, right? It's like you're doubling the hardware, you're doubling the software, you're doubling the issues and the complications. You've got the fuel injection from two engines on one. Let's see. James Bullock, has the point set up for the sports to show up? Yes, it did show up. And so in preparation to make that video, right, what I did was, so sometimes you have to pre-game these things to show, okay? So to pre-game, I actually installed it. Then I was going to uninstall it and then go through the whole process because it's a simple process. It takes just a couple of minutes. But I wanted to make sure that everything else was going to work. And since I had never heard the motor run before, I wanted to make sure that this thing was going to actually run before I shot a video with it. So I did. I fired it up and it ran good for a minute or two. And then it started spewing oil like out of every place. And then I realized that the transmission is also smoked on it. It has no second gear at all. Just where there's supposed to be second gear is right. So it's toast. I do have it's not worth. It's just totally not worth going into. It's worth 3 times as much as a parts bike as it is as a regular bike. So I do have the points conversion set up, and I will be doing a video on points conversion, but not on that bike. Bear Rose Garage is in the house. What's happening, brother? Yeah, for bro. Yeah, Tony. The port injection is to clean the valve, CDI valve. I know. Regardless, it's still two fuel systems. There has to be another way to clean up the valves. There's got to be some other way. I don't know what it is, but there has to be some other way. How are territory? How are the puppies treated? They treat me awesome. They treat me awesome. Border collies are the best thing I have ever done in my life. I've done so many things. Been there, done it. Got the T-shirt. Right. Border collies are the best thing I have ever done in my entire life. Let's see. I'm just scrolling back up here. Shannon, yeah, you got to keep it complicated. Quadra toilet. Come on, why are you going to talk shit about the Quadra jet? It's such a happy carburetor. It's a good carburetor. You can't say anything bad about them. People who don't understand carburetors diss on the Quadra jet the same way they diss on the thermoquad. Well, the thermoquad has some inherent design issues, as does the Quadra jet. But for a street driving carburetor, not necessarily a high performance thing, but it's a nice, perfect street driver carburetor. You can't beat a Quadra jet. Boomer saying the best thing I did was jump to CCC and replace it with a regular Quadra toilet. The CCC, look, you're not going to see a performance difference, a functional difference between a CCC Quadra jet and a non-CCC. It's got a throttle position sensor built into it. It's got a throttle position sensor built into it. That's it. The throttle position sensor has no effect on the carburation. It's only telling the ignition where the carburetor is, where the throttle is. That's all it is. Cops Car Steve is checking out. Have a great one, brother. Enjoy your chow. Scrolling back up. A 72Z20. What if they put one big injector in the throttle body and ran a cycle every so often? I mean, maybe. I don't know. How long would that cycle have to be? How inefficient would it be? I don't know. So Jamie, hold on a second. CC has an electronic fuel mixture solenoid, doesn't it? Yes, but it could be overridden with adjusting through the top. Unplug it and make your manual adjustments. Let's see. Soldier Falcon, hey Tony, my neighbor bought an orange jumpsuit to go jogging and the police stopped him. He didn't see that coming. 72 C20, maybe if they ran a throttle body injection at idle and then direct injectors during driving. No, that won't work with a modern type of intake manifold. A non-heated, long runner, multi-turn intake manifold. It won't work. Anything that you inject at the throttle body is just going to fall out of suspension and stick to the walls and do all kinds of other crazy stuff. It'll run like shit. So no, you couldn't just use a regular throttle body. You'd have to use an actual port injector, just something that's outside the just right in the port, just facing right at the intake valve. You couldn't have a throttle body on that type of intake manifold. James Bullock, any comment on the gold and silver markets? I have no idea where they are right now. I'm expecting a floor to build in the mid to low 60s. It was hovering around 70 when it closed last. I'm expecting a floor to form right around 62, 63, like that, and a bunch of bouncing along that floor, and then another step up. And I'm going to say it's going to be a while. There's going to be a consolidation phase. It's probably going to last a month. And that's silver. Gold, I actually see gold coming back to the high 30s, 38, 39, right? Buying opportunities right now. But it's going to be like that probably until May-ish. I think you're going to see fireworks in June. I think June is when things are going to friggin' go. And I'm sticking by my prediction from earlier this year, earlier this year. Silver, end of the year, $175, $180. Gold, $6,000. December of this year. And I think those are minimums. Territory, do you wish you kept a propane setup for one of your daily driver vehicles for uncertain times like these with gas prices so high? So they're not quite that high. I mean, they're high, but they've been much higher. No, I have motorcycles. I mean, if I need really, really super economical transportation, I actually got saddlebags on one of my motorcycles, so I could use it as my, I could go grocery shop on it if I had to. And Danny Boyd is asking if water injection will keep the valves clean. Yes. See, that's a good possibility. And there's no reason that they couldn't do something like Danny Boyd. That's something. Okay. The Oldsmobile Jetfire, okay, had a water injection system that was a mixture. It was like water and ethanol and something else. I don't remember exactly what was in there, but it was the factory used this as a water injection system for detonation or to combat detonation. There's no reason that something like Stellantis couldn't have used a solution similar to that, right? I mean, who knows what's currently available? Maybe the diesel fuel fluid would work. I don't know, right? But that would be a more realistic, less troublesome solution to keeping the valves clean. You know what I mean? Is just have that, right? An additive like that. Rocco, Tony, I challenge you to make a video on make, model, car, and the owner's significant other's bra size. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I never really understood that because, like, I'm not a toddler. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like a year and a half. I'm 2 years old. So I never really understood like the obsession with sweater stuffing. But the teacher's own. What's on the rework the PCV system so the engine doesn't seal the oil mist and combustion byproducts blow by and the valves would stay clean. You're wrong. No, That I believe is a myth. Okay, as far as the PCV system, making causing the carbon and stuff on those. No, I think that's a myth. On a typical good running engine, there isn't enough oil vapor. There isn't enough heavy oil vapor in that mix. It's getting pulled through. If there was enough oil vapor to gum up the inside of the engine, there would be a significant oil loss over time. You would notice it, right? If there was enough oil being pulled through a PCV system to crud up the back face of intake valves and combustion chambers and shit like that, you'd be using a quart of oil every like 1,500 or 2,000 miles. There's no question about it. That's one of the biggest myths there are. It's not oil vapor that does it. It's reversion. That's all it is. The intake valve is opening. There's normal reversion that happens. Some of the fuel comes back out of the combustion chamber as the intake valve is closing, and it sticks to the back face of the intake manifold. And if it's not washed off by something, it builds and it builds and it builds. So, and now, but once there's a layer, see, here's the thing, right? So the intake valve is supposed to operate hot. It's supposed to always be the hottest part of the intake induction system, right? But as it gets covered with gack and carbon and residue and shit like that, it gets colder and colder. And the colder it gets, the more shit sticks to it. I do not believe that PCV has any effect on that. Let's see. I'm just scrolling back up. Fun with cars, what's happening, man? I'm just rocket fluid. Yes, on the jet fire. All right. I was just scrolling up to see if I had missed anything significant, but I guess not. Okay. Glenn McLennan, why are the small GM engines always out of oil when they come in for service? Because they're pushed too hard. They're pushed too hard. Yeah, Sweaty Fat Guy agrees with me. Gasoline is where the carbon comes from, not PCV. William Davis, drive older cars, be wealthy, be more happy. Yes. Robotics, 16. Tony, do you think biofuels could be the nature of fuels? If not, then what do you think could be any alternative? Robotic. So I'm of the opinion, and it's backed up, okay, with the composition of petroleum, that it is a biofuel. Oil, the petroleum that we use is a biofuel. What I believe, and we've talked about this in the past, is that it's actually seawater. Oil is seawater that gets forced through fissures in the earth, makes its way to the lower layers where there's a lot of heat. And then that heat transfers it into or converts it into what we know as petroleum. So, and it comes back. They pump the well dry, it fills itself back up again, right? And I believe that that's the process that happens. I think that there were fissures on the bottom of the ocean, okay, deep in the ocean, where you've got quadrillion, whatever the hell it is, some ridiculous number of psi, parts per square inch, acting on the water on the bottom, forcing it into those fissures, into the hotter parts of the earth, where then it's transformed and sent back, sweats out of the planet as oil. That's what I believe it is. So it as far as I'm concerned, it is a biofuel. Mohawk 62, what's happening, brother? Um, let's see. Oscar, what happened to the Oscar Gonzalez? Whatever happened to the algae fuel? It is algae fuel. Petroleum is algae fuel. Uh, Oscar Gonzalez, so it was that oil was dinosaurs talked back in junior high. Well, just that, junior high, right? No, it was if you want to make money off of something, okay? If you want to make money off of something, you can't make money off of something that occurs naturally that's abundant, okay? Like for instance, how can you make money off of grass? Now, you can make money off of hay, you can make money off of stuff like that, right? But actual like lawn grass, how can you make any money off it? You can't make any money off it because it's everywhere all the time, right? So because oil is a self-producing, it's the second most abundant liquid on the planet. You can't say, well, yeah, you know what, the earth just spits it up, so we'll sell it to you for X amount of dollars per gallon. It doesn't work that way. So they had to come up with a story. This is early on. This is the 1800s and early 1900s. They had to come up with a story that said, yeah, well, it's a finite resource. There's only so much of this stuff, so that's why you got to pay for it, because when this is gone, there isn't going to be any more. But there is more all the time, everywhere, all the time. The earth just keeps spitting it out. Oil is the second most abundant liquid on the planet. Scrolling back up. Dean Stevenson, don't mention the stone cutters. Zero saying, yeah, all the old timey lizards dug themselves 16,000 feet underground for all of us. Well, that was the thing, right? It's like, because I remember them giving you the story. I was like, you're like 12 years old or whatever it is, and they're trying to teach you about oil and how it was dinosaurs decayed in there and blah, blah, blah. And all I could think of was every time I passed something dead in the street, like roadkill, right? A dead dog or a dead cat or a dead bird. I've never seen it, turn to oil or anything. Before it can get covered over, it's rotted, it's gone, right? It turns to dust. Birds eat it, right? You know what I mean? You can't tell me that like this entire planet full of brontosauruses and saber-toothed tigers and all whatever shit they had running around back then, that they all just laid down and died at the same time and all got covered over by this protective layer of whatever that allowed them to become some kind of oil. I didn't it was the most ridiculous story, but people believed it. People believed it. Sweaty fact: I built the pyramids with his cousin Dave and my uncle Ted. Excellent. I was wondering who built the damn things. What about the Sphinx? Um, saying like seriously. Thanks. Also, they knew to do this while sensing doom. Gathered together, just fantastic. I know, man. I know. But people believe it. People believe it because people don't think. There's no critical thought, and that's how the system gets away with what it does. That's how the satanic kid fuckers that run the planet. This is how they get away with everything because the public doesn't think. the public doesn't think. No critical thought, no ability for critical thought, and so that's how they get away with everything. Scrolling back up. Rocco, why don't they ever seem to build new cemeteries? I've gone down that rabbit hole, bro. I've gone down that rabbit hole. I don't know. It's a very interesting thing. I don't have a theory. I don't have a theory, and I'm not saying that that's what it is. Okay. All I'm saying is that there's something to that. You know. Well, I don't know where all the people go. I don't know. I don't know. I made an observation eons ago, right? Like 40 years ago, 50 years ago, that there aren't enough pregnant women around. There just aren't enough pregnant women around to account for all of the people. And then Kathy Bananas came up with another observation. Traffic during the day, it's crazy. It's everywhere, right? Where are they all going? Where are they coming from, and where are they all going? I don't mean during rush hour either. I mean, there's a lot of weirdnesses. There's a lot of weirdnesses. William Davis, I need a smoke. We're going to go there. I need a smoke too. I'm going to roll a cigarette. Uncle Duck is a granddaddy, 3 weeks old. Congratulations, Uncle Duck. So now your grandpa, Uncle Duck. There are lots and lots of rabbit holes. I've gone down so many of them, and I realize some of them are I'm okay to just keep a curiosity. You know what I mean? It's just like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. That's weird. That's a lot of the Mandela effect things, and yeah, I try not to go down those rabbit holes so much because I try to focus on the ones that are more based and more provable. You know what I'm saying? Things to do with the monetary system and stuff like that. Let's see. Dean Stevenson is saying all the oil pools down here in New Zealand. We export 18,500 US barrels a day to Australia and Indonesia, and yet evidently Australia is running out of fuel because of this nonsense that's going on in wherever the hell it's going on. Scott's in the house. What's happening, man? You mailed the calendar. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we need one. So Cold War Motors is in the house. He has hey, somebody put up a link to the one of you guys, Fubar or Zero, Mexican Spec. Put up a link to Scott's channel so that anybody who wants a calendar, current year calendar, featuring all sorts of scenes of coolness from this man's life, they can get one. Yes, Zero put up like Cold War Motors. Oh, geez, you sold out of calendars. Okay, well then don't go buy his calendar. But there's other stuff you can buy, so go there and buy it, and I'll send you a calendar next year, if there is a next year. Uh, let's see. Sweet fact, did you know that the vehicles before 1919 were mostly dual fuel? Yeah, they were made to run on ethanol. There wasn't an infrastructure for gasoline yet. Uh, Jeremiah Allen, hey Tony, do you ever worry that if modern fuel keeps changing, it could get to a point that our old carbureted cars won't perform on pump gas any longer? No, no, because you can tune for any circumstance. You can run your carburetor on pure alcohol. Economy is going to hurt, right? But if it got to that point, then we would just automatically be building much higher compression engines and jetting carburetors to run on alcohol, which is something that Sweaty Fat Guy is an expert at. This is his life. He makes alcohol and runs street cars on alcohol. So yeah. Scott said, have you considered what it would take to refine your own gasoline? My brother and I are talking about it. No, I've never thought about how to make my own gasoline. When we had a nitro shortage, and I was looking at different ways to make nitromethane, which was really next to impossible. But what I have wanted to do was run an engine on mozzarella, which it would have to be melted and then refined. You could probably run a diesel pretty easily on mozzarella, but I'd like to run a gasoline engine on mozzarella, and that's something I've thought about. I've considered it at times, and maybe at some point I'll actually pursue that. Um, let's see. Ego Death Please might start making our own alcohol, run 13-to-1 big jets. You don't have to run that much compression. 11-to-1, 11-to-1 is probably good. And basically, you're doubling the amount of gasoline to alcohol. So it's hard on economy. It's hard on economy. Josh Homan, the only things you'll run on mozzarella are pizza and lasagna. No, not true. If you heat it enough, it becomes an oil. It'll break down to be the oil that it is. Why couldn't you run an engine off of it? Uh, Fun with cars. Gasoline runs 14-to-1. Air to fuel. Alcohol runs about 7-to-1. We've got the expert right here. Sweaty Fat Guy is the expert on this. Throw your 2 cents in there, man. Here we go. Okay. You can run ethanol at 6-to-1 compression all the way to 26-to-1. Around 12-to-1, you get the same mileage on both gas and ethanol. Okay. Above 12-to-1. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Huh. Interesting. So let me ask you a question. What if you were to take a diesel, okay? What if you were to just take a 4-stroke diesel and run it on a carbureted alcohol a carbureted alcohol setup with spark plugs. So let's say you take an engine like the old diesel, right? I'm just pulling one off the top of my head. That was a gasoline engine that they converted for a diesel. What if you were to install spark plugs in that and just put a carburetor jetted for alcohol on there? What kind of results would you get out of that? Because that would be interesting. Jim Grady saw a show once where the guy that would refine old fried vat oil from fast food restaurants and run his truck on it. I saw that too. Um, KJ Kylie, ever think of having Al Gore on as a special guest? He lives nearby. Yeah, Al Gore lives about 30 miles from here. Uh, after he got caught at the airport with like 12 gallons of blood. They stopped him at the airport, and he was carrying like 12 gallons or some crazy amount of blood. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, there's somebody I probably would not want to have any dealings with. You know what I'm saying? Especially now you see what these people are doing. Okay, what they do. The elite. Okay, and their hobbies, the stuff they enjoy doing. And you get Al Gore at the airport with the blood. Gee, I wonder. Uh, Josh Holman, engines have been running lots of crazy substances, but cheese is pretty out of the box. Dude, we don't run engines on mozzarella because it's easy. We do it because it's hard. Okay. What was what was the Kennedy quote? The Kennedy quote about we're not going to go to the moon because it's easy. What was that? I don't remember exactly. Uh, Ego Death Please, 12-hour comments with a spark plug head or spark plug insets. What do you enjoy? Oh, wait, glow plugs. What am I thinking? Yeah, a diesel automatically has holes for the glow plugs. Right. See, I'm not a diesel guy, so it didn't occur to me. I had to think of an engine that was converted to diesel. But yeah, every diesel's got a hole in there for a glow plug. So take the glow plug out, hook up an ignition, and send it. Goldberg Motors. We don't drive French cars because it's easy. And the French build those cars to challenge you. That's the whole purpose. They're giving you a purpose, man. Fun with cars. You're saying EcoBoost is garbage engine. There's a lot of different EcoBoosts. I still have nightmares from working at a Ford dealership. I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. Uh, Coleman Motors, right? Other cars are too sensible and logical. Where's the challenge in that? I'm just scrolling up. Just in case I missed anything interesting. What's for fuel is wildly expensive, though. Yeah, I know, but again, bro, it's the challenge. Mopar man, Al Gore is another Luciferian Marxist environmental nut that thinks he invented the internet. I, I think that Al Gore gives Luciferians and Marxists a bad name, to tell you the truth. Because I've known many, I've been friends with many different, I've known Luciferians, I've known Marxists. They're okay. You know what I mean? They've got their own belief systems, and that's fine. I don't care. You know, but Al Gore, I think gives them both a bad name. Joker. Yeah, bro, you said a mouthful. That's exactly right. That's how I feel about it exactly. Life's too hectic. I need my mechanical universe to be sensible and easy. Yes, sensible. It doesn't have to be very easy. I don't mind working, but when I work on something, it has to make sense. There has to be logic and reason to the thing that you're working on. The basis of mechanical things are all logic. You know what I mean? This has to make, and the essence of logic is it has to make sense. So that's why I have such a problem with everything that's out there today. Sorry, Fat Guy, I kind of wanted one of those old 350 diesels to play around with. They're hard to find in decent shape. Most got scrapped immediately. Most of them got scrapped like immediately. I remember back in the 80s, I was swapping those things. It was like a regular deal. The used car dealers in my area would go to the auction. They would buy the old diesels and 350, 305s and 350 Chevys, or they would swap them out with the Oldsmobiles too, the 260s and the 307s. I can't tell you how many diesel conversions away from the diesel and gasoline back then. People hated those cars. Scoop, I couldn't figure out the Rubik's Cube, so I took it apart and stuck it back together again and finished. You solved it. It doesn't, you see, it doesn't matter how you solved it. Period. The end. You did it your way, and it was probably faster than most people could do it their way. Uh, I'm just scrolling back up. Mopar Man 78. Everybody talks about American cars and French cars, but nobody talks about the car with German engineering and Mexican know-how. It's Adobe, the car body made out of clay. Uh, the Sean, I believe on the olds you could swap 403 heads onto the 50 diesel and change cam, make it a gas engine. Well, the 350 olds diesel motor before the NHRA went to the 500 cubic inch limit in pro stock, the old diesel motor was these build the pro stock motors off of the Oldsmobile pro stock motors off of those diesel blocks. Uh, Charles W. I've adjusted my accelerator pump in all three positions. I've talked to numerous people. Everybody says, "Oh, I run a Holly." Oh, so you're running an AFB style carburetor, and you're having an issue with. Let me scroll back up, Charles. Let me look for your original. Okay. You unhook the secondary. It's my last day of autocross. It's the only way I could get the car to just not cut out. Oh, okay. Okay, here we go. I cannot get my Edelbrock AVS 2750 to run it all. Okay. So you took it autocross racing. You unhooked the secondary the last day of autocross is the only way I could get the car to just not cut out. Oh, okay. I adjusted the accelerator pump in all three positions. I talked to numerous people and everybody says, oh, I want a Holly. All right. So one of the characteristics of all of those Edelbrock, Carter, AFB, ABS carburetors is a situation that happens on the secondary side when the engine sits for any amount of time. And this might be your situation. When they sit for any amount of time, 2-3 days, the carburetor dries out. Okay, when you crank it and the motor starts, it fills the float bowls, but there's big passages from the float bowl to the booster on the secondary side that stay dry and they have to be primed. So the first time you punch it, it'll stumble and just it'll run like shit. And it takes a little while for those secondary circuits to fill with fuel and then give you the response that you're looking for. That's a common trait with those. So like if you're drag racing one, let's say, during the burnout, you go in, you get the RPM up, you get the tires spinning, and then you tip into the secondaries while you're doing the burnout, and it'll miss, and it'll try to fall on its face, it'll stumble, and then finally it fills those passages, and it comes up, and it'll run normally. And then when you launch the car, you hit it, and the secondary circuit is already primed, and you'll get instant throttle response. That might be what you're having. If it's an autocross situation, you might be aware that secondary side is dry. Okay, you're driving primarily on the primaries, and I imagine when you get to a straight, you're punching it, and it's holding back and stumbling and shit like that. What you're doing is you're letting off the fuel, you're letting off the gas before that circuit can get filled. So what you have to do, is just keep it on the wood, okay, to fill that secondary side. And once it's filled, it'll be fine. Once that secondary side is primed, it'll be fine. But that's probably what you're experiencing. Straight Ponte Solo. I'm late. What did I miss? Bro, everything. You missed all the good stuff, and it'll probably never be repeated ever. Yeah, sorry, man. The Adobe is a skit from Saturday Night Live. I don't know what that means, but yeah, you missed it. TCB Quick. Surely I'm not the first to ask you if you've got any nephews. Circa Mad Magazine, Unc and his nephews. You make an awesome uncle. Oh, thank you. I have a couple of nephews, but they live in New Jersey and they're completely, I don't even think they know I exist, to tell you the truth. But I consider myself to be an uncle to all of the younger guys, and I'm old, so younger could be you could be in your 50s, you could be, I consider myself to be an uncle to anybody coming up in the car world or in the mechanical world that I'm your uncle, bro. Um, yes, Rocco's bringing up a good point on that 750 AVS. Did you play with the air door adjustment? Yes, that's the other thing too. Hold back on the air door adjustment. Tighten it up. Um, I'm just scrolling back up. And Fubar just put up a link to my merch again. Thank you, the amazing and lovely Fubar. Our shirts, our hats, and as we said, we've got to the point past where if you wear our merch out in public, you're not going to get assaulted or called names or anything like that. We're past that, so you can wear this stuff safely out on the street. Do not wear it to SEMA. Do not wear it to PRI. Big Rock, Uncle Tony, thoughts on Indian Larry's bikes. Out of all of those custom builders of the day, he was the only one. I actually got to meet for a second, for just enough for him to hand me money. Met Indian Larry eons ago. He was building. He was into the Yamahas, the XSs, and I had the Yamaha twins, and I had bought several of them on Staten Island, and I wanted to get rid of them. And I heard that he was looking for those Yamahas, so I grabbed a buddy of mine's pickup truck. We threw the bikes in the back and the engine and the parts, and I ran them out there, and I sold them to a lot of stuff for like $500, whatever it was. So I did actually. I can claim that I met Indy and Larry, but I guess it's just long enough for him to look at it and say, okay, it looks good, and hand me the money. So what did I think of his bikes? Artwork. Artwork. He had this philosophy of featuring all the gizmos. You know what I mean? It's like don't hide the stuff, show it, right? Doll it out, dress it out, and as a gizmo lover myself, yeah, this stuff is just pure art, pure art. Uh, I'm scrolling back up. Love you guys. Awesome mechanical knowledge. You're a legend. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Uh, Rocco, I came across a photo of my ex-wife with Sonny Barger. Wow. Unfortunately, not until after the wedding. Oh, man. Well, I mean, listen, that's royalty. I mean, it's Sonny Barger, right? Who, for a long time, for many years, rode a Sportster. I know he went to a dyno later on, towards the end of his deal. But for the most part, for most of his life, he rode Sportsters. So Ego Death, I'd love to have the Chain of Mystery bike. We were talking about that a few weeks ago. Somebody brought up Indian Larry, and I could not remember the name of that freaking bike. I could picture it. I see the bike perfectly in my mind, right? But I could not remember the name of it. Chain of Mystery. And I saw Billy Lane rode that thing. Did a video on that. Billy Lane is somebody I would love to get a hold of. He bounces between Franklin, Tennessee, which is 25 miles from here, and Florida. I know he runs back and forth between the two places. But Billy Lane is somebody I would absolutely love to get a hold of and sit down and do something with. He does so many interesting things. He's such a friggin' well-rounded craftsman. The stuff he does with the vintage race bikes, the Sons of Speed. Oh, that's just so freaking awesome. It's not something I could get involved in because I'm limited. I'm so freaking limited. But man, if anybody out there knows Billy Lane, okay, tell him I would love to get together with him and do something. Mitten Made Muscle. Anybody see how Richard Rawlings bought an Indian Larry bike and had no idea who Larry was? That's Richard Rawlings. I was surprised he didn't know who Larry was. You know what I saw? You know what? Dennis Collins. Uh, uh, his evidently he's done with YouTube. Um, he does a channel, Coffee Walk, I believe it's called. I don't know. Every video he does is so nice. He does really good fucking videos. And evidently he's done. He's thrown in the towel. There's no more YouTube, which is a shame because there's so little quality, like really good quality, YouTube. And he was real good quality YouTube. And evidently he's done. I guess he's just gonna run his Jeep dealership or whatever he does. But yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. Fun with Crows saying misbehaving was Billy Lane's bike. I saw it. Yeah, he's built a bunch of cool shit, the hubless bikes and all of that. But he did a video recently where he actually took the Chain of Mystery for a ride. Danny Boy saying, "You think it's an April Fool's joke? You bet $100 he's on next Friday." Oh, I mean, I'd be happy it was. I would be happy if it was. Because YouTube needs more Dennis Collins. It's that simple. There's a lot of people that are like him, Matt Walsker is one of them, the Wheels Through Time. Quality, man. Everything the guy produces, you just sit there and from the time you click on it that it's just going to be good quality. You know what I'm saying? You take the ride with him. There's a few people that are like that. Mexican Spec is saying Dan thinks he saw April Fool's flash at the end of that video. I'll go back and watch it. I'll find out. I'm just scrolling back up. Mopar Man, Tony, speaking of Sonny, he and the Hells Angels came here to the Branson area for a gathering event. I met him and signed a VHS tape we had of the movie with Jack Nicholson, Hells Angels, Hells on Wheels. Nice. Um, Straight up Panisolo. Hey, Tony, what's your favorite color paint if you were to paint the car asking for a friend? Depends on the car. The car tells you what color it wants to be. At least that's how I've always seen it. The car tells you what color it wants to be. Um, I like I like stuff that's in the realm of red, right? But not necessarily red. I like that spectrum, the hotter colors. Um, everything for red, gold, butterscotch is one of my favorite colors. The Mopar colors, Bahama yellow. Um, it just depends. It depends on the car. It depends on the car. Material dialectics. I'd like to try to make more videos. You should. I feel like my adventures keeping 40-year-old cars going while being dirt poor could make for interesting content. Um, yeah, I mean, I make videos for people who are, just scraping by, people who are just learning. Yes, make videos. People can relate to that. Remember, there's 10 people who are just scraping by and save money to put on the side and steal time. It's very difficult to do this stuff for every one person who just rolls out the cash and just gets it all done. Um, so you're in the majority, the vast majority do videos. Ego does. Well, Tony's cars all want to be primer. Primer signifies I'm not done yet, right? That's like the classic hot rod black. Okay, primer signifies I'm not done. This is not finished. You know what I mean? And because my cars are never really done, primer does fit. You know what I mean? Even the Charger, I painted the Charger. It's paint, but it's like a flat black, Boulevard black, I think they call it. It's like a matte color. And in my mind, it's like a fresh coat of black primer, before it's faded and without the blotch marks on it and stuff like that. Because it says, hey, I'm under construction. I'm being worked on. You know what I mean? A car in primer says somebody loves me. Like a car that's finished is just finished. You see what I'm saying? Um, Sweaty fat guys, I'm having fun with dirt cheap custom paint colors. I went down a rabbit hole with Rust-Oleum paint jobs, and I don't use Rust-Oleum. You will use like the far the or there's so many different brands of implement paint. Uh, UB's Garage. I've been a bit bummed about YouTube since AI has filled the airways and the algorithm lately has been challenging to say the least. I know. I know. Try being on this end of the business. You know what I mean? There are only so many hours. There's only so many eyes and so many hours. And I'm done myself. Okay, like I posted a video on Friday, which I knew don't post this video on Friday, but I needed to appease the algorithm and have a video in that slot. You can't go too long between videos before YouTube starts to penalize you. So I had to put out the video. Now, anybody in this business knows, do not post a video on Friday afternoon or anytime like, really Fridays, just don't post a video on Friday because Vice Grip Garage posts on Fridays and he'll get 500,000 views over the course, and he runs his videos go an hour and a half, 2 hours. So take the number of people that are sucked into his video for that amount of time and they're not clicking on yours. So it hurts a lot, like probably twice. A video that would normally get, if you posted it on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, a video that would get 40 or 50,000 views is only going to get like 15,000 views because he's got all the eyes and he keeps them for a long amount of time. So it's now on top of that, throw in all of these AI videos, automotive AI videos. They get 60, 70, 80, 100,000 views and they're constant. There's like new ones every day. There's thousands of them. It's ridiculous. It makes this job extremely tough, extremely tough. Rocco saying YouTube needs to send the filter out AI. Ain't gonna happen. I'm having a real hard time finding real content. It just isn't presented in the recommended videos. YouTube is a business, okay? And YouTube is in the business of selling ads. And if you click on a video and you watch the ads, YouTube made their money. That's all they care about. They don't care if it's an AI video or not. You know, so they're not going to discourage people from clicking on videos that are going to get them watch time. You know, get their ads seen. Joker, is uploading consistently on a set schedule beneficial? Like a video goes up every Tuesday at noon, for example. Only if you have a large dedicated follower. So it has to be where when you post a video, there's going to be 50 or 100,000 people who are going to click on it as soon as they get the notification. And they'll put that time aside. They know this is the special time that you post your video. You know what I'm saying? And so if you post your video every Wednesday at 9 o'clock, well, the people who follow you, who really follow your channel, they'll be there when you know, and so you get a strong launch. And when you get a strong launch, the algorithm pushes the video out even further. But if you don't have that really large following, it doesn't make any difference. My following isn't big enough to make any difference when I publish. So I upload a video when it's done. I shoot a video, I hand it to Kathy. Kathy edits it and then posts it. And whenever it goes up, it goes up. But I do generally try to avoid Friday afternoons because it's just suicide. I am Smiley. Someone making money off AI sloppy videos. Yeah. You can get monetized with an AI video just as easily as you get monetized with a, you know, a regular video or channel, I should say. Let's see. Dodge Boy, good evening, Dodge Boy. Sean the person, Tony, any good sources for scrap 18 gauge metal? I mean, everybody has different areas and different things. You need to do patch panels, but a 2x3 sheet is up to $60. God, and it's probably loaded with impurities and turns to fudge when you try to weld on it. I don't know. I mean, reach out to your local scrapper. I'm sure they're always picking up car hoods and trunks and doors and shit like that. Reach out to your local scrap collector. Yeah, Rocco was saying roofs, hoods, van doors, washing machines. Yes. Let's see. Sweetie Fact, I used to buy bent and rusted hoods to cut up for patch runs. Yeah, actually, I got to start doing the body work on my 73 Roadrunner. And I'm going to need a lot of metal for that car. And that's stuff that isn't reproduced. So, yeah, I've actually come to think about it, I've got to go hunting for metal myself. Barracuda. I've got a set of US Indy slots. On the inside of it, it says made in China. I know. I have a set of torque thrusts that say that too. Face it, they won. They won. You know, they won. They own us. You know, we buy their stuff. We have no choice but to buy their stuff. Good, bad, or otherwise. They won. But it does burn your ass when you buy something that's US Indy slots and they're made in China. I know. Buff cut some Valiant metal off, but he hoards it. I bet you I can get it from him. I gave him the car. At least he could do is give me back some scraps, right? Straight up Ponte Solo. Ever worked on a Harley Davidson? No, but I've seen people work on them, and it's pretty interesting to be honest with you. I'm just scrolling up here. Oscar Gonzalez saying, I've noticed typos in news articles of using AI editors. Probably, but I've noticed that too. I've noticed typos and weird punctuations. And then the best, we have a McDonald's about a mile from here. And we've got McDonald's everywhere, right? But there's a McDonald's about a mile from here. And they have the marquee, is there, the specials or the deals or whatever, right? So on what do they call this new burger that they have? The big something or other. What's the name of this freaking burger that they've got, guys? Tell me real quick so I can tell you the story. The big something, the big scumbag. What's the name of this burger? The Big Arch. Thank you, Oscar. So on the sign, right, it says, try the product, Big Arch. This is what it says. This is supposed to make it appealing. This is supposed to be like the catch. They're like, as people are driving by, they see the sign, they're like, oh, let me try it. Let me go pull in there and try this. Try the product, the Big Arch. Where did that come from? The product. Try the product. It was like some unfortunate person, somebody less fortunate, I guess, than anybody with any common sense, was in charge of putting up that sign. And they must have had the press release that said, put up a sign to try the product, the Big Arch. So they literally copied from the sign, try the product, the Big Arch. At least it was all spelled correctly. You know, saying somebody went to college to brainstorm for that one. Dude, it was a whole team. It was a whole team. They had a Zoom call. It was like 8 people. They genius. Make genius. So let's have a meeting. Back to cars. Ken Winter, how much vibration will urethane engine mass transfer to a cabin of a car? Probably less than a Big Arch would. I mean, it depends. It really depends on the engine. Like if it's a 4-cylinder, you're gonna rattle your teeth. Okay. If it's a well-balanced inline 6 or probably minimal. You're gonna get some buzzing. If it's a perfectly balanced V8, very little. But it just depends on what you're working with. And also, it's going to depend on the type of chassis that you're putting in. So if it's a unibody car, yeah, you're probably going to feel some vibration. If it's a separate, frame and body, then it'll be minimalized. Mohawk is saying it looks like the big arch just replaced the middle bun with a piece of meat and changed the name from Big Mac. Yeah, it's going to be some kind of scammy thing. Firefly, consume, obey, consume, obey. Sweaty Fat Guy is saying, I don't notice any extra vibration from the engine plate in my blown car. Yeah, I mean, most V8s with solid mounts and stuff, you really don't feel it. But think about the vibration damper that you've got built in there, okay? Because the blower itself is a vibration damper. The belt driving it is a vibration damper. I mean, you've got ultimate vibration damping on hanging off the front of your engine. They're charging $10 for a big arch, $10. Now I'm hungry. No, not that I want a big arch. No big arches. But you guys should know me by now, right? As soon as you start talking about food, I get hungry. Uh, Frederick Booth. Um, the replaced starter was a big pain in the ass to R&R. Could only hold with one hand while tightening one bolt at a time. It's a test, bro. It's a test. All of this stuff is to make you a better, stronger person. You mastered that challenge, and now you move on to the next challenge. So yes, you were tested by that starter, and you passed that test. Um, Ego Death, please. YouTube, with all its faults, has decimated the mainstream media. It's true. Nobody believes them anymore. I know. I know. We are the new media. And I'm not saying that in a bragging way or anything like that. I'm not claiming to be like a leader in the new media, right? I'm just a participant. I'm another cog in that wheel. But yes, we are the media. And I think you're going to get more straightforward consensus from YouTubers than you are from paid, influenced, employees of a corporation, which is what the old media is. Oh, Fred, oh, you're 70, bro. I thought you were young and you were doing your first starter job. Okay. Well, okay, respect to you then, bro, because I'm sick. I'll be 64, like I don't know, like soon. I'll be 64, like really, or maybe I already am 64. I don't even know how old I am anymore. I think I'm 63 going on 64, but I could be wrong. So yeah, I know how difficult that is. Okay. Yeah, I thought you were a kid and it was like your first starter job. Respect to you, brother, for turning those wrenches at 70. Zero, what should I try? I got a scope and see what you want me to try. Hang on, Zero. You didn't tell me what to try. You just says to try it. Oh, no, you're just fucking around like the burger. Oh, yeah, no, the big arch. No, thanks, man. No, thanks. I've, listen, okay. Again, I've been down all these freaking rabbit holes. I'm not saying that I believe it necessarily, but there is a lot of beef that goes through, like a lot of meat, I should say, that passes through these fast food places. I, I'm not saying it's true, but I wouldn't be surprised in the least. How many people go missing every year in this country? Gone, without a trace. Gone, right? How many? A lot, a lot. Showing the person. And this is gonna be the last one, guys. It's we're past 2 hours, and I'm hungry, and I gotta hit the thing there. Tony, what do you think the muscle car hobby would be like when these cars turn 100? I'm 20 now, and it's wild to think when I'm 60, my Impala will be 100. Dude, I don't know. Sean, I think that you're gonna. I think that the world you're gonna see is gonna be so different, so different. Uh, I don't know. I couldn't speculate on that. I couldn't speculate on that. I don't know if the car hobby is really going to be relevant, and it's not going to be outlawed or anything like that. But things are going to change a lot over the course of your life, like a lot. Don't worry about it. Enjoy what you have now. Don't stress the future. Just enjoy. Just turn wrenches, learn, build skills, build community, build a nest egg for yourself in like hard assets, and just enjoy. Just enjoy every freaking day, and don't worry about what it's going to be. All right. And on that note, I am done. Yes. Uh, our awesome mods, Fubar, Mexican Spec, Zero, guys. Thank you again, as always, for keeping things running smoothly and putting up the links to stuff like that. I so appreciate it. Thank you. Um, Everybody contributed super chat. Thank you. It's never expected, but always appreciated. And everybody contributed with your presence and your conversation. Thank you equally. I'm eternally grateful for the time that you give to click on these friggin' videos and keep me employed. It is so awesome. Thank you. And um, if you still want to hang out, head over to Jamie's Dead Dodge Garage. He'll be on for another hour. Past, we go off, and then he's on for another hour or so. So head over there. And a Mexican Spec, I think, I don't know if Mexican Spec is doing another live tonight. And Fubar just put up another link to my merch. Thank you, Fubar. And yes, okay, and Mexican Spec is going to be live at 8:15. So you guys have options. Your Sunday night is not over, just this part of it. So thank you again. We'll be back with Dr. Art on Wednesday. I'm gonna drop a line on an old friend of the channels, an old friend of ours in these lives, and I'm gonna try to get him on for this next coming Sunday. So we'll have something interesting next Sunday. And that's it, guys. I'm out. See you tomorrow.